we've looked at a number of things in terms of how do we ensure that this sector can meaningfully continue to contribute to the development of Nigeria. So some of those things include implementing the executive order around ensuring that we can protect infrastructure, telecommunications infrastructure in the country, driving up significantly local content. But I think most importantly as well is ensuring the sustainability of the companies as well. That as we see inflation across the world, that telecommunications companies, that we don't run them down, we allow them the opportunity to continue to be sustainable so that they can contribute to our economy. You've seen over the past weeks that there's been agitation from some of these companies to increase tariff. They're requesting for 100% tariff increase. This is not something that as a government will be able to subscribe to at the minute. But the work we've done is to commission a study that has helped us to look at how do we drive the sustainability of the sector without inflicting any serious pain on our people. But also, even where we find pains, can we find ways to mitigate this pain so that people don't feel it that much? So that's what this is all about. And yeah, tariff will go up. That's the verdict, but it won't be by 100%. And we're still looking at that. So the NCC will come up with a clear directive on how we go about it to strike the balance as a government to protect our people, but also protect and ensure that these companies can continue to invest significantly as well.
And that Mr. Bosun Tijani, the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy. Now, the rise in tariff for the telecom sector is one that many Nigerians are beginning to wonder, okay, so is this a replication of what happened in the oil and gas sector? And how are we going to survive this one? In fact, what we're hearing really from governments is creating that balance between ensuring that these companies do not die and that the Nigerian doesn't die too under the weight of extra payments in this particular sector. Well, here to help us understand it from a consumer's perspective, really, is the former editor-in-chief of the Gbenga newspaper and provost of the NIJ, Mr. Gbenga Adefaye. Good morning, Mr. Gbenga.
Good morning.
So
My pleasure being here.
Nice to have you here with us as well. So let's talk about this. How are we going to navigate this particular matter?
Well, thank you very much. I think it's clear. We've had the verdict of the government. Tariffs will go up. That will be an additional burden on all of us, you and I, both in our private lives and in official lives, because we've all come now to be totally dependent on the services of the telcos. How do we navigate this? I think we just have to adjust. I don't see any other way around it. It's not something that you and I are going to be able to negotiate with the telcos, because they put the case forward very strongly that they are hemorrhaging, they are dying, they are not making money, they are incurring losses, and largely because of the economic policies, the Naira dollar crisis and all of that. So how do we negotiate this or navigate this? I think you and I will just have to adjust.
When we say when you say adjust,
we just have to adjust.
What do we do? When you said so,
well, look,
are we going to be able to afford it? He said it's not going to be 100%. Listen, they've said a lot of things. They actually said they were going to start service shedding if their demands are not met. And
yes.
Then, with all of these things going on, when we say adjust as a people, how? Do I not use data? Do I turn off data? What do I do?
Let me ask you, how many phone lines do you have as a person?
One.
How many? Oh, lucky you.
Yes,
some people carry 3, 4 because they are not sure of the quality of service. I don't want to do advertisement for any of the telcos there, but you and I know that there are some parts of this country you go to, you can't get quality service. On some of the telcos, you can't. Only 1 or 2 are assured and all of that. So what you see, you find a lot of people carry more than 1 telephone lines, buying data on 2, 3, 4 platforms. I tell you, you have to do bundle. You have to mind how much time you spend on online, how much data you use. There's not just two way about it. I tell you, as a person, for instance, I'm probably going to consolidate my data usage, concentrate on one, and begin to do share if I need to use services elsewhere. If you don't mind the cost, you'll be taken out of the system. And so that's the way it is. You can only spend the money you have, and I do not think we all have too much money left after spending so much on energy costs, after spending so much on transportation costs, after spending so much on food, when you look at the inflation figures and all of that. So that's what I mean by adjustment. You just have to cut your coat according to your side, according to your pocket, make only necessary calls, shut down data where you don't need it, and that's it. So that's what I mean by being adjusting, because there's no way around this. You are not going to be able to do much about the direction of the economy. As it affects the companies, the telco, so it affects you and I.
I mean, Mr. Adefaye, would this translate to better service? I don't mind if the service gets better.
Well, what is the quality of service you get right now?
Poor.
Let me ask you.
Very poor. Very poor.
The further you move away from Lagos, which is considered the economic hub, or you move away from Abuja, the more your troubles. So we do hope that they will plow back some of these resources into working on our broadband relay. And I think beyond that, the government has a duty here, has a job to do. I think it's also about time government begin to do massive investments in creating the national telecom infrastructure to support what the telcos are doing, so that there can be sharing of cost, and then they can then improve the services. As we speak, it's terrible. As we're talking here now, I have about 3 devices set up to continue this engagement, because I'm not too sure that one will serve and all of that. And I'm just close by your Lagos office here, just some 2-3 kilometers away from you. So that's it. We pray that we get quality service, we get better service, but the promises are not there. Like they say, unless we do what they're asking us to do now, pay a bit more. I hope it's not going to be a lot more.
I mean, I think Ayo has a few questions that he'd want to ask you. I'm trying to adjust. I'm thinking about my spending. I'm trying to think, okay, so the Wi-Fi in the house.
I'm doing mine also.
We have to start adjusting that. But I think Ayo has a few things that he would like to ask you. Go ahead, Ayo.
Well,
okay,
thank you.
I'm here.
Thank you, Caleb. Now, let me ask you, this is no longer a luxury. Telecom service is not a luxury anymore, and it's a global phenomenon, and everyone is talking about it. In our country, perhaps one of the issues that people will be concerned about is the communication of these intentions. Do you see a responsibility for telcos in communicating these intentions to hike the fare prices well enough?
I don't think they've done a good job of it. I think they can do a lot better. They've told their stories. They've spoken about inflation. They've spoken about devaluation of naira. They've spoken about the cut in their cables and all of that. But I think they need to do a lot more of engagement to show empathy to the people here who are going to be spending the money. Because believe you me, those who can buy will stop buying. And we better all adjust to that reality. Yes, they might get more money because they raise the tariff, but in terms of how much time you and I spend on these services might be reduced. I will adjust mine. I will only make important and necessary calls. I will only do what I need to do with data. When it's not important, I will shut down because I need to survive. Unfortunately, our lives, our businesses totally depend on these services.
Now, so, talking about businesses,
I think they can do a lot more.
Yeah, talking about businesses, going straight to micro, small, and medium enterprises, this will definitely significantly impact them, right? So I'm wondering what you think, what the thoughts you would be proposing. What would you be proposing for the minister to look closer at as they consult? I mean, heard him there talk about, consultations ongoing, research ongoing, and the impact that this is going to have ultimately. We hope we'll be able to speak with the minister also shortly. But if you could be asking him questions as a journalist, what are the things, or if you could propose to him based on the experience that you have in interacting with the public, what would you be proposing to him in consideration of micro, small, and medium enterprises? Automatically, prices will rise according to the overheads of the businesses.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's simple. Be telling him well, maybe you have to have special consideration for this kind of services because of the number of the people that are in employment in these micro and mini businesses. If they do not propose what is affordable, a lot of people are going to go out of jobs. A lot of people are going to go out of jobs, and that is going to worsen the economic situation. It's going to worsen the crisis we've had with the GDP growth and all of that. So there has to be special consideration for this level of operators in our economy. The big players, yes, maybe they can afford it, like they're trying to do with taxes. Maybe they want to consider something like that for the small side businesses, to keep as many people as can in business.
How about
for those level of businesses? Yes.
Okay. How about the NCC? The minister mentioned the NCC the other time. So what is your assessment of the NCC, that's the Nigerian Communication Commission's role in protecting consumer rights while balancing industry needs?
Well, are they protecting consumers' rights? I know that there's been serious accusation that tariffs have been frozen for a long period of time. Oh, yes. Maybe in that regard, they have to. But having seen them listen to and consider the presentation of the telcos, I think they still have to weigh more on the side of businesses, on the side of consumers, to think of affordability. Because let's face it, it is tough around here for all of us. It is tough because even the minimum wage, how many people can pay. And don't be surprised. Many people are going to outsource the lower cadre businesses. They're not going to be able to keep them in employment, and if they are not in employment, when they are not earning money, they are not going to be able to spend. All of this will form part of what the consumer section of NCC should look at in the negotiation, in the mediation between the telcos and all of us. So they have a lot of work to do in moderating this. I think they can do better than they have done. They appear to have assisted all of us to have held down the tariffs for a while, but while they cannot hold it down much longer, I think they have to get something. They have to consider the general state of the economy and the purchasing power of the people in arriving at the figure. We've had it. We've had the rumor that they are considering 40%. Even 40% is a lot, because we are going to be moving to some 15 naira or so per minute or all of that.
Well, I guess we'll wait to see how it all pans out. But talking about consumer protection, how about consumer advocacy groups in Nigeria? I'm sure you know one or two of them. They definitely have their own roles to play. Do you think they've been able to hold telcos accountable for fair pricing and service quality for long enough?
They try, but I think they can do a lot more. They can.
Are they limited in any way?
Pricing.
Do you think they are limited?
Hello?
Do you think they are limited?
I think so. I think so.
In what ways do you think they are limited?
The NGOs. But I think the one that may not be as limited will be the one headed by the Federal Commission, the one headed by Tunji Bello, who has been forceful in the few months he's been in office in trying to hold back and try to get something fair for consumers. I'm impressed what he has done with the electricity people. I think they can also come in strongly and also interface with both the telcos and the NCC on behalf of all of us. That is it. I think they are limited in terms of capacity. I don't see enough of conversation going on around quality of services we have to match what we pay, even now, not to talk of what we will pay as we go on.
Well, this is definitely going to have a lot more impact on young people. What would be your advocacy, or what would be your counsel? I know you've talked about us adjusting and all of that, but young people who would rather just stay online than face certain, vagaries of life, what would be your proposition?
My proposition is to make special allowance for them. Look, around me in my house, there are about 4 or 5 young men and a lady. Young people in the university, some just living. And what I found out that they spend most of their time online trying to learn 1 or 2 things, because they think that, well, you can make money, you can learn new things and all of that. And I think they have to be encouraged. Like as we've said, there should be special consideration for the small scale and medium-sized businesses. I think in doing the negotiation, in doing the packaging, the telcos must have to have some consideration for this kind of users of this system. I know right now sometimes you can bribe for free at night. They are able to do that. You and I can't do that. I can't stay up all night. But that notwithstanding, I think new bundles, new packages may just be something that maybe may have to be considered for the use of this generation, so that we can keep them busy and maybe steer them away from troubles.
One thing that you can be sure of is the young man or the young woman will evolve, will adjust, and they will still maximize. Sure. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Mr. Gbenga Adefaye, former editor-in-chief of Vanguard newspaper, as well as provost of the NIJ. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much. My pleasure indeed. Thank you.
Yeah.